Thank you. It's an honor to participate for the first time in the ministerial meeting of the Feminist Foreign Policy Plus group. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the previous discussion as I am presiding over the G20 ministerial meeting this afternoon, but I made it a priority to step out so I could also be here with you. The fight against inequality, thank you. The fight against inequality in all its forms is a cross-cutting objective of Brazil's G20 presidency this year. As we know, the G20 was established to bring together the world's largest economies and to develop solutions to global economic crisis. However, over time, we have learned that economic, social, and environmental spheres are interdependent. The crises we face today are interconnected and impact all aspects of our lives, with an even greater effect on women and girls around the world. The world is still far from achieving the gender equality outlined in Sustainable Development Goal 5 of the 2030 Agenda. It was only recently that the G20 recognized the importance of discussing women's empowerment as essential for developing solutions to these multiple crises. We have given special attention to the promotion of gender equality by convening the first ever meeting of the Women's Empowerment Working Group, which discusses empowerment and autonomy, confronting gender-based balance in an intersectional perspective and climate justice. The deepening climate and food crisis have further entrenched women in poverty and food insecurity, a situation exacerbated by barriers to accessing resources that could support their financial recovery and resilience. This scenario underscores the necessity and importance of public social policies such as Bolsa Familia and the Food Acquisition Program, which demonstrated that state investment targeting women yields significant results. The Bolsa Familia conditional cash transfer program continues to guarantee a minimum income in Brazil, benefiting 21 million families, of which 90% are led by women. These proven and effective policy models will be available for replication and adaptation by other countries as part of the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, which is the primary initiative of the Brazilian presidency at the G20, aimed at eliminating poverty, extreme poverty, by 2030. Dear colleagues, promoting diversity and inclusion is also a key priority of the government of President Lula. To this end, several ministries were created to address different areas of human rights, such as Ministry of Women, Ministry for Racial Equality, and the Ministry for Indigenous Peoples, each led by a woman. Women are held in several other strategic ministries in Brazil, including Environment and Climate Change, Planning and Budget, Management and Innovation, Science and Technology, and Health, among others. We are giving voice to minorities and vulnerable groups such as people of African descent, indigenous peoples, people with disability, the LGBTQIA+ community, and immigrants, among others. All ministries, including the Foreign Ministry, have been asked to mainstream the perspective of gender and racial equality. These two main goals are being adopted as part of the public policies in the current administration, including in foreign policy. In concrete terms, as a series of measures have already been adopted to this end, such as the equal remuneration law between men and women and the national care policy. In regional and multilateral fora, Brazilian diplomacy has actively engaged with initiatives focused on gender equality, including the Equal Rights Coalition, the Global Alliance for Care, and the Global Trade and Gender Agreement. Last year, I had the honor of presiding over the Security Council's annual open debate on women, peace, and security. However, 55 years prior to Resolution 1325 of the Security Council, Dr. Berta Lutz, a Brazilian politician and scientist, firmly advocated for the inclusion of language on the equal rights of men and women in the preamble and Article 8 of the UN Charter. In the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I have established last year the System for Promotion of Diversity and Inclusion, which consists of 4 committees: ethnic, racial, gender, disability, and LGBTQIA+. The position of High Representative for Gender Affairs was also created, allowing Brazil to further engage in discussions on feminist foreign policies. In addition, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs presented 30 proposals for affirmative measures as part of its action plan within the framework of the Brazilian Federal Affirmative Action Plan. These measures include initiatives aimed at further advancing gender equality within our institution, enhancing gender-oriented consular assistance, and encouraging diversity in the areas of cultural promotion, innovation, diplomacy, and at the Brazilian Diplomatic Academy. Brazil wishes to share its vision and experience in promoting gender and racial equality, grounded in an intersectional, inclusive, and participatory perspective. At COP30, we want to highlight that climate change is not gender neutral. Rather, it reflects many, if not all, of the historical inequalities our societies have long perpetuated. This is true for women and girls, especially when from developing countries who bear a disproportionate burden of the worst impacts. Therefore, their needs must be considered throughout the discussions within the regime. Count on us to contribute to these vital discussions, including those on foreign policies grounded in gender perspective, as a means of strengthening a more inclusive and diverse multilateralism and effectively combating global structural inequalities. Thank you very much.